Think about corporate America's traditional corporate ladder. Entry-level staff at the bottom learning the ropes, dense layer of middle management keeping the gears turning, and executives at the top executing strategy. Now, imagine a software deployment that attends and flattens that pyramid overnight. Today on the American Backdrop, we are looking at the quiet but massive structural realignment sweeping through the white-collar workforce. We aren't talking about distant science fiction future. We are talking about active corporate restructuring, hiring freezes for recent graduates, the compression of middle management, and how enterprise AI is changing the fundamental mechanics of how modern businesses scale. Welcome back to the American Backdrop. Before we start, please go ahead and smash that subscribe button and turn on notification. For nearly a century, the playbook of growing a successful American corporation followed a predictable, linear path tied directly to headcount. If a company wanted to expand its market share, manage a broader client base, or increase the quarterly revenue, it had to hire new people. Growth inherently meant a larger payroll, sprawling corporate campuses, and increasingly dense tiers of managers to coordinate the ever-growing army of workers. But over the last couple of years, that fundamental equation has broken. Today, executive boardrooms across the country are obsessed with a different operational metric: operational leverage. It is the ability to scale a business's revenue and output exponentially without scaling its headcount. And the primary engine driving this transformation is the rapid integration of enterprise-wide generative AI and automated agent frameworks. What we are witnessing right now across the white-collar landscape isn't a speculative trend or a pilot program. It is an immediate high-stakes structural shift that is actively flattening corporate hierarchies, eliminating routine analytical roles, and completely rewriting what it meant to enter the professional workforce. And to truly understand the velocity of this shift, we have to look past the sensationalized headlines about manufacturing robots taking over factories and focus instead on the routine, process-driven knowledge work that forms the quiet backbone of the American office. Consider customer operations and service divisions, which have historically been among the largest white-collar employers in the country. What you see is that over the last year, major financial institutions and global retail brands have quietly transitioned their baseline customer interactions to advanced enterprise AI frameworks. The data coming out of these early adopters is stark. These automated agents are now handling millions of multi-tier customer inquiries simultaneously, resolving complex issues in seconds, and operating at a fractional of the cost of a traditional call center. According to internal corporate metrics, these systems aren't just faster, they are matching or exceeding the resolution and customer satisfaction benchmarks of human teams. But the disruption isn't stopping at the front desk. It is moving rapidly up the corporate structure into areas that used to require specialized degrees, like financial data analysts, contract compliance, insurance underwriting, basic accounting, and human resource administration. Think about the immense amount of labor in corporate America that exists solely to aggregate data from various departments, format spreadsheets, write internal status reports, and pass information up and down the chain of command. Enterprise software can now ingest those disparate data streams instantly. An executive can ask a secure corporate language model to draft a comprehensive compliance audit, map supply chain bottlenecks across 3 continents, or analyze regional sales performance over the last quarter and receive a highly accurate, synthesized brief in seconds. Industry data highlights the reality of this trend. In recent workforce surveys conducted by management consulting firms like McKinsey and Company, upwards of 50% of surveyed organizations reported that the implementation of advanced automation has directly reduced their need for traditional support and administrative roles. This isn't a slow phase out. It's a systematic restructuring designed to make organizations leaner, faster, and far less dependent on labor to scale operations. The corporate justification for this shift is rooted in immediate macroeconomics realities. Corporate leaders are facing intense pressure from shareholders to maintain high profit margins in a volatile economic climate marked by fluctuating interest rates and rising overhead costs. In a landscape like that, an enterprise infrastructure that trades high recurring labor costs for predictable, scalable software subscriptions looks less like an optional upgrade and more like a mandatory survival strategy, so they have no choice. However, this corporate optimization introduces a severe structural crisis for the broader American labor market. The gradual erasure of the traditional entry-level career path. Historically, the entry-level corporate job served as a critical societal training ground. A recent college graduate would step onto the first rung of the ladder in a process-heavy role. Their days were spent doing the heavy lifting of corporate execution, manually auditing financial models, verifying compliance data, sorting customer logs, or drafting standardized client communications. While these tasks weren't necessarily highly strategic, the process of executing them was how the workers developed deep institutional knowledge. It was how they learned the unwritten rules of their industry, understood the corporate culture, and built the foundational skills required to become a manager and eventually a senior leader. If you automate those foundational tasks away, you effectively are pulling the bottom rungs off the corporate career ladder. Recent data from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics and independent payroll processors indicates a creeping divergence. While unemployment among highly experienced specialized professionals remain low, the unemployment and underemployment rates for recent college graduates aged 22 to 27 have shown a steady upward trend. White-collar career platforms report that more than 20% of surveyed companies have actively pulled back on entry-level hiring programs, with many predicting that certain introductory analyst roles will be phased out entirely within the next few years. We are moving towards a corporate ecosystem that demands high-level strategic thinking and systems management right out of the gate. But the internal pipelines designed to cultivate those skills are actively shrinking. This reality has completely flipped the script on how white-collar professionals must approach career security. For decades, the standard advice was to pick a highly specialized technical skill and master it. Security meant being the fastest person at running a specific type of risk matrix, or the most accurate compliance auditor in the regional office. Today, however, repetitive task execution, no matter how complex the data, is exactly what is being commoditized by automation. The premium in the modern workplace has shifted entirely away from execution and towards system architecture, critical curation, and human AI hybridization. The professionals who are thriving in this environment are those acting as conductors rather than musicians. Consider a modern corporate financial analyst. They are no longer spending 20 hours a week manually cleaning data sets or writing formula chains in Excel. Instead, they feed parameters into an enterprise automation engine that parses the entire data in seconds. The analyst's value is now compressed into the final hour, interpreting the anomalies that system flags, assessing political or macroeconomic risks that software cannot calculate, and delivering a definitive high-stakes recommendations directly to executive leaders. And because of this shift, a massive wage premium is emerging in the labor market. Studies analyzing millions of corporate job postings show that roles requiring a blend of traditional industry expertise and advanced AI system literacy command significantly higher salaries and greater remote work flexibility than positions relying strictly on traditional skill sets. The market is aggressively rewarding the workforce elites who know how to multiply their personal output using automation, while simultaneously squeezing the wage of those whose core functions can be handled by an API call. But while individual adaptability is an essential survival strategy, the macroeconomic questions hanging over corporate America remains deeply challenging. If an enterprise can quadruple its operational output while cutting its required workforce in half, where does the displaced white-collar talent go? Historically, technological revolutions from the steam engine to the personal computer have created far more jobs than they destroyed over the long term. We know that. And we are starting to see the early stages of that job creation right now. There is an enormous capital-intensive boom happening in the physical infrastructure sector. Billions of dollars are pouring into construction, civil engineering, and high-voltage electrical contracting to build out the massive data centers required to anchor these enterprise networks. And within the office, we are seeing the rise of entirely new corporate titles: data governance directors, algorithmic compliance officers, AI security auditors, and cross-functional workforce architects. However, the defining challenge of this current transformation isn't the destination. It is the sheer velocity of the transition. The Industrial Revolution unfolded over generations, allowing the labor market decades to naturally age out, retrain, and adjust educational systems. The Internet revolution took a quarter of a century to mature, but the enterprise AI transition is moving at the speed of software deployment. A corporate directive handed down at the start of a physical quarter can completely reshape the workflow, software stack, and headcount requirements of an entire global department by the time the quarterly earnings report is filed. Ultimately, what we are witnessing on the American backdrop isn't just an era of smarter software. It is a fundamental structural reorganization of how modern business is conducted, how corporate profit is generated, and how human labor is valued. The successful corporations of the near future will be remarkably lean, highly agile, and deeply automated. And they will achieve unprecedented financial efficiency. But they will operate within a broader society that must rapidly figure out how to educate, employ, and support a white-collar workforce that is being forced to reinvent itself in real time. And that's the American backdrop. As always, stay sharp, stay aware, and start learning your AI so you can be a part of a new wave of white-collar job market. See you in the next one.